there, everybody, and welcome to Roll with Advantage. My name is Joe, and welcome to session number 63.5 of the Explorers of Efera. As you'll notice, our group of players is a little different today. In place of the 5, we have the one missing person, who's been gone for a minute, but very happy to be back. The point of this is just a little elaboration. What I like to do when players are gone for a while or they miss several sessions, obviously that character must have been doing something in the meantime. So what I like to do, instead of just telling them, if it's possible, if it's something that both me and the player are able to do, I like to do a little one-on-one shot where we go through the events of what happened to them, what they experienced, and what changes may have happened during that time. Because I mean, with Cyrus having been gone for, 8 or 9 sessions, maybe more, the characters around him, his party members, have changed, right? They've grown and developed as characters, so it's only fair that that happens to Cyrus as well. Or Zamir, as we're kind of going back and forth between the two. So, with that, we'll go ahead and roll the intro, and we will get started. And we're back. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's pick up where we last left off with Zamir Casario, which was in the Gemstone Archipelago. Yes, so long ago. So, as a brief refresher, Zamir, the last moments that you had where we left off, Emeriel had come to the Gemstone Archipelago. He had been reunited with Penelope and you, and many, many intense conversations, emotionally exhausting conversations were had. While the relationship between Penelope and Emeriel would never be what it once was, and the relationship that you two once had would never probably be what it once was, things were beginning to heal, were beginning to get better. Emeriel started being more honest with you and with your companions, telling them the truth about everything that he knew, saying that he only kept secrets from you because he wasn't sure how tied to this all of you were. So he begins to tell the truth. He begins to be honest. He begins to open up. He begins to realize that he doesn't have to do this all by himself like he has been for so long. And that's in part thanks to you, and in part thanks to your traveling companions. So, things do get better the more time that passes. In this moment, and what has happened in the past day or so, is you saw a massive surge of magical energy from Emeriel as Grandmaster Tak, this white dragonborn who was in charge of the scholars and organizing any scholarly affairs within the Gemstone Archipelago, you discovered that he was a Dark Friend, a servant of the Dark One, hoping to find information about Emeriel in a way to truthfully destroy him, kill him. Now, sadly, it seems as though that information had already been gained, but Tak met with Emeriel. And in that moment, Tak tried to take Emeriel out, but he was too fast. And in a moment, you saw this flash of arcane energy as Emeriel severed Tak's ability to interact with the Weave, cutting him off from that source of magic entirely, removing any ability that he may have had before. Now, in this moment, there was such a powerful surge of magical energy that you felt it, Zamir. You felt that power course through you. And one of the things that you notice is there was a look of fear on Emeriel's face as he looked over towards you to see you interacting with that power. And he immediately turned back to what he was doing, finished cutting Tak off from that magic. And Tok ran away, tail tucked between his legs, as you were left there with your companions. Emeriel shared some thoughts with you. That in the coming days and weeks and months and years, the war against the Dark One and against Dark Friends and Shadow Spawn will continue. And you have to be prepared for those fights. You have to learn the things that Emeriel knows in order to best fight them. Emeriel proposes to you and to your party members that you separate from them for a small amount of time so he can teach you what he knows, and so he can teach you the right way to handle these things. Now, sadly, the honesty and truthfulness to Emeriel's words didn't ring true in this current moment, as that is what he told you. And Cyrus, you know this moment, or Zamir, you know this moment quite clearly. You remember it. You were saying goodbye to Alec and Dogolin and your mother, and you saw Emeriel walk over towards Morganix and Varnast. You could see them share a few words, quietly. Morganix and Varnast nodded, sadness in their eyes, and Emeriel, you could see his shoulders sort of relax as the tension left them. You're not sure exactly what he said as his back was turned to you, but what secrets would he need to keep at this point? Why would it just be something for only those two? It's an echo of doubt in your head. But Emeriel returns to you, and you look towards the rest of the party, and you tell them, don't worry. I'll be back, I promise. And you look at the faces of your companions one last time before you step through a portal. That was the last they had seen of you. Almost. Almost. So, from that moment, that is exactly where we left off. And this is where we're picking up. Upon stepping through that portal, you see what looks to be some type of study or sanctum, magical glowing lights hanging from the ceiling. Through large stained glass windows, you can see lights, more magnificent and vibrant than anything you've ever seen, trickling through those windows. You look out and you can see what looks to be like astral bodies. Bright, magnificent, magical colors illuminating this empty black plane. You can see books and tables, lecterns and stands, anything and everything to a mage's heart's content is here. One thing that you do notice that is a little odd is on the far end of the room, you can see what look to be 3 lecterns standing in a row with letters on top of the lecterns and chests underneath those lecterns. Very evenly, delicately spaced out. And you're too far away to read any of them, but it's like the one place where it's very clear and organized. The rest of it's a little bit messy, like an organized chaos, which is something that, Zamir, you're very familiar with. But in that moment, you finally reached your destination. And Emeriel and Sigrun stand near you. Emeriel smiles and says, well, we finally made it. So, Zamir, I do wish to inform you as to what will be happening.
Wait, hang on. Do you live here? Is this your, secret home?
Um, yes, this is where I spend most of my time.
Brilliant. And he's already like mid-word as he says that and turns around. He's like, where'd you keep the wine, darling?
There's some in the nope to the left, to the left and up, right there. Yep, that's where.
Yes, sorry. You were saying, darling.
What even was I saying, Zamir? I want you to know that what's going to be happening is going to push you to the brink of your mental fortitude.
Oh, let me finish the glass first. Oh, goodness.
All right.
Is he getting frustrated yet?
No, he's definitely laughing. He's trying to stay serious because you can tell that he knows how dangerous this is, and he thinks it hasn't set in yet to you. So at this point, he's just kind of laughing, but you can tell if you keep going that he'll probably be frustrated here in a little bit.
Yeah. But am I kind of getting that sense that like he's laughing, but he's like, no, this is really really serious.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like a I'm in danger kind of laugh, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So, please drink. That helps. I want to be as honest with you as I can in these coming moments, so that way you can better face whatever may come against you in this test.
Wait. So the way you say you don't these aren't your tests? You don't know what said tests are?
I do to a degree, but they're personalized. So, let me explain. How familiar are you with the Children of the Flame? If not at all, that's all right.
I mean, I know them, but just remind me.
Let's assume.
Remind me in detail.
Of course. The Children of the Flame are an organization that operates in Bromsgrove. And they're a worldwide organization. They fight for the light. That is what they do. They recruit people, they go from place to place looking for dark friends, trying to root them out and protect the people from the Dark One. They sound like a perfectly reasonable and valiant and proud organization. The issue is, the Children of the Flame, they will recruit anyone. And in fact, most people don't willingly come to the Children of the Flame. Most people are saved from death sentences or prison sentences to fight on behalf of the Children of the Flame. So many of these people, they are coming here to avoid a death sentence or worse. So what happens in the Children of the Flame is, although their purpose is to fight against the Dark One, sometimes there are people who have ulterior motives, where all they wish to do is gain more power, more gold, and live the rest of their life. And never ever have to fight against any of the horrors of the shadow that we both know are out there. Following?
Yes, I am.
Okay. There were members of the Children of the Flame who became so frustrated with these tactics and this reasoning that they separated. Still working within Bromsgrove, but being much more secretive about what we did. That is what I belong to. I'm a member of the Hidden Flame. We are some of the very few in the world who truly understand how cataclysmic a conflict with the Dark One can be. And we do everything in our power to try and stop it. We operate individually. The only codex that we follow is to stop the Dark One at any and all costs. I haven't spoken with any of the fellow members in 5-10 years, I think. Granted, my previous situation didn't exactly help with that, but we operate individually. And any member of the Hidden Flame can recruit someone else for the Hidden Flame. Teach them the secrets that we've learned to best fight against the Dark One, Shadowspawn, and any Dark Friends. And that is what I want to teach you.
I'm down, but if you tell me I need to recruit 3 people and they need to sell some knives and then they recruit 6 people, I'm not down. I've been down this rabbit hole before.
I understand how you could. Do you ever accidentally almost explain a pyramid scheme in your game? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. You don't need to sell anything, and you don't even need to recruit anyone. There's no monetary gain. Let me be very clear. Although it might look like it's in the shape of a pyramid, there is no exchange of funds.
It's a reverse funnel.
It is it is simply a last line of defense against the Dark One. That is what it is.
I mean, have you already spoken to the rest? Alec, Varnast, Morganix? I mean, do they know of this?
They do not know of this, but I did share information with Morganix and Varnast in particular. And I want to tell you what I told them, but I need you to finish these tests before I do. And I want to tell you, I'm just afraid of what it may do to you.
I mean, I haven't revised. I'll be honest that much.
The tests, then.
I'm fucking with you.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just nervous. The tests are dangerous. They are. Simply how it works is there are 3 trials you will go through, where there is a magical gateway that you'll sit in front of. And you'll channel your magic into this gateway, and it will cause you to see things. It will challenge you based off a fear of something from your past. That's the first one. Something that happened previously in your life that still provides trauma or fear to this day. You must overcome it, or not succumb to it. With each one of these trials, you will have 3 opportunities to leave. 3 opportunities to abandon this fear and to leave it behind you. If you do not step through the gateway on the 3rd time, there is no way for you to return here.
Well, where would I go?
You would be lost. And the worst part is, I genuinely do not know. My best guess is in certain parts of the multiverse, in certain parts of the existences that we live through and that we know of, there are many that are closely packed together, but there are small pockets of nothingness between them. From one timeline to the next, from one reality to the next, these small pockets exist and they desire to be filled. So my assumption is you would be there, floating in stasis, emptiness, nothingness, forever, for all eternity. You would be gone. These trials are serious. But it's important for myself and for any of the Hidden Flame to know that whoever goes through these trials won't be tempted by their past or the present or the future. Because the magics that you will learn here, if used incorrectly, can be devastating.
Right. So during this test, wherever they are, I mean, the thing I can do where I bend, snap, and I don't know, add to the weave. I mean, out of character, tides of chaos.
Yeah.
Can I do that there?
You can. Anything within the trials. Are you speaking of the trials or that pocket?
The trials.
In the trials, you'll have all of your same abilities, your magic, your everything. And in some cases, it might even be heightened or reduced, depending on where you are. In the past, it may be less significant, depending on where it puts you, and in the future, it may be more significant, depending on where it puts you.
Right.
I think if I can give one piece of advice, I wouldn't look at anything too concrete. This is very heightened, is what this is.
I mean, I know the feeling. I mean, I once did these mushrooms I found in the forest, and I stared at myself in a mirror for about 2 hours. I couldn't tell who I was, but I won't focus too highly.
Emerald's like rubbing his temples, exhaling repeatedly. Okay, all right. At least you have experience, I suppose. All right. The trials. Once for the past and the fears you have. The second, you'll face your worst fears for what is happening in the present. The second arch is always worse than the first. Always. And then finally, the third trial, you must face your fears of the future. The third arch is always the worst of them all. They get harder and harder as you go, and they get harder and harder to leave as you go.
Got it.
All right. Now, I ask you, are you ready?
Cyrus will down the rest of whatever wine he's got. I don't know if it's a bottle, but he will just say, "Nope, not really, but let's do this."
All right. Zamir, I know you're capable of this. You can do it. All right. Here we go. So with that, he will lead you and Sigrun through several long corridors and hallways until eventually you round into a large square room, 4 braziers burning this like radiant white hot flame. And at the far end of the room, there is what looks to be an opal archway. Stands about 15 feet tall, 12 feet wide. Well, all you need to do, Samir, is channel your magic into that gate, and then step through. The magic of the archway will do the rest.
Right. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? And he'll start channeling his magic into
Okay. Alrighty. So with that, you begin to throw your magic, all of the power that you have into the gate, and you can see as it hits the wall, it just begins to fill in, creating this like thin webbing that starts at the wall and spreads out to all the corners. And as soon as it hits, it begins to glow this deep purple. With that, you can see Sigurd sits in the back corner of the room, setting her axe off to the side, and Emeriel stands near the gate and says, "The first time is for what was. The way back will come 3 times. Be steadfast."
Way back 3 times. Got it.
So with that, you step through.
Yep.
Sorry, here, let me real quick do that, and then, sorry. Aha, there we go. All right. So, as you step through, you feel yourself falling. For a second, a minute, a day, a week, a month, a year. Falling and falling and falling. What feels like a second and an epoch all at the same time. Till eventually, your eyes open. You can see your hands. A pale white. You can feel your face, smooth skin. And you feel your hair. No horns. You think to yourself, well, why would there be horns anyway? I don't have horns. As you have this odd sense of deja vu. Looking at a ruined small town. Rain pouring down. You feel this odd compulsion. There's something inside this building. Something you want to see. You can hear 2 men having a conversation, you think? One's voice is loud and rumbling. The other, you can tell he wears a smile on his face. You feel this compulsion to head in to this building, but also down the street, you see a glimmering door of silver and mist appear. Zamir, what do you do?
I think being the shitty little kid he probably was, he can't help but be nosy.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not he kind of, I think he was trying to eavesdrop, but in a sneaky way as possible.
Okay.
I mean, looking down, I know I wouldn't know this because okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming as Zamir looks at himself, everything just seems normal. He doesn't realize he's in a test. It's just
Correct.
this is now.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, in that case, yeah, he would just be a shitty little kid and try and be nosy. So maybe kind of scoot something towards a window or kind of like an awning and just listen in.
Okay. So as you sneak near one of the windows and poke your head through, you can see that silvery gate close, getting swept away in the wind. As you peek your head through one of the windows, they're boarded up, but there are small cracks, and you can see this odd bout of flame, producing no light, but is just roiling embers and cracked ash. Speaking with a man, older, maybe in his mid to late 20s, long black hair like yours, but odd, purple skin and horns. Wearing very, very nice clothes. Clothes that you think that maybe one day you would like to wear. The two of them talk back and forth. There is a condescending tone, and the man of cracked ash and ember, speaking to this purple tiefling. You know what you want. You know you want power. And I can give that to you. All you need to do is reach out and tear it. If you want to know your true nature, all you need to do is look and see. As the man of cracked ash and shadow gestures his hand down a set of stairs where you can see this dull red glow emanating. You can see the man sort of look, the smile kind of wash away on his face as he walks down the steps. And you can see the man of cracked ash and shadow and ember look to the window. And you can feel these two beady, dark roiling flames where his eyes should be look deep into you. As there's
Can I just bolt, kind of dip my head below the window?
Oh yeah, just dip. And you do, and you can, it's odd, you can still feel him looking at you. But eventually that feeling goes away. And as you slowly peek your head back up, you can see that man heading down those stairs as well. And you can hear him say one last thing. I can show you your true nature, what you were really meant to be. All you need to do is look and follow.
Do I get the impression he is talking to me or the tiefling?
It's weird because it feels like both.
I'm presuming not, because obviously Jamie knows that Cyrus had a vision of this exact thing. This is in the past. Does the present Zamia have any deja vu other than that feeling just then?
Other than that feeling just then, I would say maybe a little bit. When you first came in and you saw it, and you felt that you didn't have horns, like that was a big moment where you kind of had that ooh, this doesn't feel right.
That was like the uncanny valley, existential, what's weird, but then it just passed.
It's still there a little bit, but
Okay.
That childlike curiosity is almost overpowering it. Almost, though.
Cool. I will, once it feels like the man made of ash is kind of what present me feels like is a safe distance, and just kind of in blissful ignorance, or more probably just pretending that I think it's safe, will kind of climb through that window if I can and just kind of slowly go down these stairs.
Okay. Sounds good to me. So you creak in through the door and you begin to tiptoe your way towards the stairs. And you can feel this This odd energy coming from down these steps. That roiling red light. There is something down there. You feel a connection to it. As you stand at the threshold of the steps, in the tavern, maybe 10 feet away from you, silver webbing and mist appear in the shape of an archway. It disappeared once, and now it appears again.
Do I currently remember the 3 times it'll appear, or not?
I would say maybe at this point you maybe hear a little bit of 3 times. 3 times. 3 times. But I don't know if you remember the full saying.
Cool. I mean, there's no way he's going through it yet. Like, no way. He's gonna kind of like look at the door and just kind of like shake his head as in like, that's not there. And proceed.
Okay.
Not through the door, of course.
Yeah. As you begin to make your way down the steps, there is this shift that happens. It is immediate and mind-numbing. As you take 1 step and then 2 and then 3, there is this moment where, as you begin to walk down, the camera kind of pans down and around into shadow, and by the time it comes down to the base of the stairs, you look down at your arms. Purple skin. You feel the horns. You can feel the wounds from the Chaos Duel. You can feel that pain, that tinge of chaos, that tear, and the power that you received from that. As you now stand in a hall, framed with red light, chains hanging from the ceiling, and a stone door staring back at you. You can see a man standing in the hall, speaking with a child. The child runs down the hall, and the man turns to you. A man of embers and ash. Ah, so you've decided to join us as well. So, have you made up your mind yet?
Remind me about the question. My memory's a bit foggy.
Do you know where you are?
Do I?
No, you have no, geographical idea of where the fuck you are.
Of course, but remind me.
Oh. For a man with such joy in his life, what an odd way for your brain to appear, your mind. Ruin and desolation, darkness and shadow. So many doors of your memories have been locked away. So many opportunities for you to learn the truth kept from you. That doesn't sound fair, does it? Ah, no.
And you're telling me that those memories are through this? And he'll kind of like nod at the stone door.
One, yes. One indeed. And I give you an opportunity. Open the door, and you can stop what's happening behind it. As you can hear two voices. A young child's voice, no older than 7 or 8, that says, "So, Dad, what are we going to do today? What's the plan?" "Oh, well, Zamir, I think I have something very special planned. I think that, well, you know how we've been having a lot of issues with certain spells? Mm-hmm. Well, I think that I finally found a way for us to undo that. And to fix it. Isn't that great? So I can be just like you." "That's right. You can figure it out, and I can teach you everything that I know. But all I need you to do is I just need you to try and get really comfy in this chair, all right? And I'm going to give you something to help you fall asleep, all right? Thing is, if you move and jostle around too much, you could get hurt, all right?" "Okay." As the man of Ember and Ash looks to you, "You could stop it, you know. Prevent all this from ever happening. You have the choice. You could. I give you the chance." As he gestures his hand towards the door, you can hear a small lock unhinge, unclick. But at that same moment, on the opposite side of the hall, you can see a silvery portal, wispy shadow and mist appear. "Ah, 3 times it will come. 3 times it will come."
Does hearing the Man of Ash say that kind of give me the galaxy brain moment?
Oh, yeah. And you have this oh fuck moment. Because before, you were in this moment of when you were in Ul's Crossing during the Chaos Duel and during that sort of translucent moment where you didn't know who this was. But now that some of that knowledge that Cyrus has begins to flood in, and you very obviously know who this is.
I'm gonna just kind of like, I'm not gonna break eye contact from, well, clearly the dark one, but I'm just gonna like very slowly, just take a step backwards toward the silvery gate
Mm-hmm.
and say, so at this point, am I mean, I'm sure this is only gonna get about 10 more layers of Inception by later on. But am I kind of like lucid right now? Am I realizing that this is then and also now?
Correct. Yes. The way that he's talking to you, you understand the Dark One to be a creature outside of time. And very clearly, he is manipulating the past and the present to mess with your brain.
So kind of as I'm going backwards towards the gate, I'll just say, never realized it was you. I mean, makes sense, but I thought it was him. And he'll kind of like nod his head towards the locked door.
Very well. Good luck on the rest of your trials. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other again soon. And the ash falls apart, spreading out on the ground.
Once the kind of ash falls apart, that's when Zamir will finally turn around and go through the silvery gate.
As you are just about to step through, the act falls apart. You can hear the door lock again on where the voices were coming from. And you can hear young Zamir begin to yell out in pain. No, please stop. This hurts. This hurts. Please stop. I don't want to do this anymore. Please stop. This hurts. This hurts. This hurts. And then just yelling and screaming in pain.
Fucking hell.
And at that point, you can feel the portal begin to close behind you.
Yeah, he's gonna just dash through that portal.
Okay.
But I think it's one of those, where it's like, as he goes through, it's like, shit, did I make the right choice?
Yeah. And as you do, you step through, you can feel that bit of relief wash over you, as eventually now the entirety of what you've been experiencing comes back to reality. You know that was a test, that was trial, that was meant to tempt you to stay, and you didn't. And as you do, Emeriel approaches you, and you can see there is just like dust and ash and rain, like you were just completely soaked and drenched and covered in mud. And you can see he comes over and he moves over you and casts Greater Restoration and Prestidigitation, cleaning you and cleansing you, and says, "You are washed clean of what sins you may have done or those done against you. You are washed clean of what crimes you may have committed, and any of those committed against you. You come to us washed clean and pure in heart and soul."
Do I have memory of the trial?
You do, yeah. Clear. It is painfully clear.
I guess after he's kind of like done that, he will stand up and say, "Sure you don't want to give me something to help me sleep?" And just stare.
Yeah. Yeah, Emeriel definitely. That's like a gunshot wound. He doesn't look at you and says, "I was wrong, and I'm sorry, and my words do nothing for it now. But I want you to know," and at this point he does look up at you and says, "I am truly sorry for what I did. If I could take it back, if I could undo it, I would. But I can't."
Right. And he'll just stand up, turn his back to him, and just kind of wait towards the gate and be like, "Let's just get this done, shall we?"
Just so you're aware, these trials do take time. You were gone for about a week.
I think he's in such a shitty mood that he tries to play it off as nonchalant, like he's just ready to get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the whole... he doesn't quite double take, but it's a bit like... okay.
Yeah, of course. All right. As you face towards the archway ready for the second trial, Emeriel speaks. The second time is for what is. The way back will come 3 times. Be steadfast.
Right. Let's see. And this time, as he kind of starts channeling that magic over and over, he's saying to himself, 3 times. 3 times. Hoping that somehow that will, I don't know, in his own head, he's thinking that will remind him maybe when he's there.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he can kind of like make it almost muscle memory, just saying it over and over as he's doing this and walking through, that maybe it will have some memory of that.
It'll help some, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can feel the reverence of those words begin to really ingrain themselves into your brain. So you're not sure how much you'll remember, but hopefully you'll be better off than you were in the first one. Okay. So with that, the portal opens and you step through a second time to face your fears of the present. Stepping through, you are thrust into a world of astral destruction, turmoil, and chaos. You can feel the darkness and chaos surge around you as you can see these large, monstrous creatures stomping through as magic and attacks begin to whir and fly. You blink for a moment, and you're not sure exactly where you are, but you can see these creatures, massive, stomping through these small sacks of skin and flesh and meat, just moving around on the ground like slugs. And maybe 25, 30 feet away from where you are, you can see your friends. You can see Alec, you can see Varnest, you can see Morganix. You can see Jinx and a 5th person that's traveling with them. But you can see them charging in to fight these things, and you can see off in the distance a massive mountain. And so, Zamir, you do what you do best. And in that moment, you go straight into it like nothing had ever happened, like you'd never been separated from the group before. However, right at the beginning of the fight, you can see a portal open on when you begin to do something, the first time that you get a chance to do something and you ignore it the first time. That revenance, those words come back to you. You know that you only have 3 times. You don't know what that means, but you only have 3 times. Halfway through the fight, as these creatures begin to summon these astral meteors, slamming them down in your companions, your party members, you can see people drop unconscious and brought back from the brink of death. And you just continue to fight. Halfway through the fight, you see a second doorway open, but no, you have to stay here. You have to help them finish this. And eventually, the creatures are killed. It is a long and grueling fight. It is painful. But eventually, you do kill them. And you return to the ground. Your friends battered and bruised, bloodied. And you can see them smile at you, reunite with you, hug you. Alec comes up and gives you the biggest bear hug you've ever had in your life. Morganix and Varnas do the same. Jinx is so incredibly happy to see you. And a man named Moku, who came with them to the Abyss, he seems cool, but he's not exactly important right now. But Morganix hugs you as well. And she looks at you and says, "You came back. You're here."
I mean, I told you earlier, you guys are weird. I never left. It's fucking minging down here. Let's just get this shit done.
Alec kind of shakes her head at you and Cyrus, what do you mean? You've been gone.
It's just, I mean, I'll give you props, Alec. Your humor is definitely improving. But, I mean, who taught her the joke? Because, I mean, we've been here this whole time. It's been gross. Morganix, you've got this, and he kind of sniffs her. Curse. I mean, guys, come on.
Varnast kind of puts a hand on Alec's shoulder. And Varnast looks to you and says, I'm glad you've been here. We needed you.
And, Cyrus will kind of, like, slap on the shoulder and say, see, Varnast, you've got my back, as always. Thank you. And just give him, like, a solid pat, which I'm sure doesn't even budge Varnast.
No, and he'll kind of clap your hand on his shoulder and say, yeah, I've always got your back. And you can feel this sort of glimmer on your shoulder, Cyrus, behind you. And those words echo through one more time. 3 times it will come. As the party looks to each other, they look to you. This is where things deviate. The party said one thing in that moment, when that portal arrived. But Cyrus, you heard something else. The words that you heard are not what they said. Morganix looks to you and says, no, you can't leave. You already left once, you can't leave again. It's not fair. Cyrus, you're not going to leave, are you? Alec speaks up now. You told me you wouldn't leave. You told me you'd stay. I thought you were my friend. Varnast speaks up now. Yeah. I've always got your back. Why don't you ever have mine? What, just another bottle of wine? Another card to draw? You know what? Yeah, just run away. Just run away like you always do. Sure, go.
I'm not leaving. I never left. I mean, we just slayed wherever the fuck these things were.
Morganix.
What do you...
Just go. Just go. Because you know what? We don't need you. Unless you're going to stay and you're actually going to help us, just go and don't come back either. Because if you're going to leave again, I never want to see you again. I needed your help with this, Zamir. You promised me you would help.
I am. At this point, now, obviously this is Jamie knowledge. Obviously, present multiverse of madness, fucking Ray mirror scene, Last Jedi, Cyrus.
Yeah.
Clicking his finger. Is this pre or post, like, snapping that weave on Morganix?
This would be pre.
Okay. Am I remotely, other than, like, getting the hint of the 3 times again. Am I present or am I aware of what's going on? Like slightly.
There is what breaks it for you is as soon as Morgonix yells that at you, you can hear another voice, maybe 15, 20 feet behind the party, that the party doesn't acknowledge, as Ember and Ash coalesce to the form of a man. Stay, Cyrus. Show them that you care. You don't want them to hate you, do you? They fought for you, and now you won't fight for them. Doesn't sound like a good companion to me.
Shut the fuck up!
You can see all the party members kind of stop and stare. I don't say anything. They just stop. The ember and ash floats away in the wind.
I don't know if I'm here or there or when, but I don't have long, and I don't know how much strength I have, and I don't know if this will work, but trust me. And he will kind of like raise his hands and say, do you trust me? To Morganix.
I do. I always have, Samir.
And that's when he will use literally all of his present, wherever he is, chaos energy into breaking that curse again.
And you can see that those chains snap 1, 2, 3, 4, breaking that curse inside of her. She just looks, and you can see her smile. She hugs you and says, I understand, Zamir. I know you'll be back. Just know that I miss you. Alec hugs you as well. So does Varnast and Jinx. All of them squeezing tightly. As they let go, you can feel the portal behind you begin to shrink.
3 times. Three times. And he will say, I'll see you in a minute. I have to go. I'm just around the corner, but I need to go.
Varnas shakes his head and says, Go. We know you need to do this. Good luck, friend.
Cyrus will nod, and he will pass through the gate.
Okay. That, as you step through the gate, you are returned to Emeriel's sanctum. Now, as you return, Emeriel does the same thing that he did before with the Greater Restoration and the prestidigitation, and says, You are washed clean of false pride. You are washed clean of false ambition. You come to us washed clean in heart and soul.
How long have I been gone?
Another week. I have spoken with your companions, though. I told them that I would tell you as soon as I knew. They've arrived back in Efera. Their plan is to go to New Vidalca, say hello to some old friends, then to New Efera, and then to head to the Bloody Mesa. Now, I suspect, and I shared this with them, that there may be things happening in the Bloody Mesa around the Dark One and the 13 that they should keep me updated on. If my records are correct, there is a seal of one of the Forsaken within the Bloody Mesa. And if they find anything, they should tell me and I will go investigate. But I told them that you are well. You succeeded the first trial, and that you were in the process of the second. In speaking with Varnast, he seemed happy to know you were all right, and all of them are very excited to have you back eventually. They love you. I can hear it.
He speaks to me, you know, while I'm there.
He does?
Yes, and he has before, although I haven't realized it until now. I've always heard the voice or felt the want, but never saw. And now I know. And I think, even though it's not even the end, I think at this point he'd be doubting if the present is real.
Yeah. Because now you have these, like, two alternate timelines of the present in your brain with what was actually said to Cyrus and what was said in that, and the two on top of each other are really hurting your brain right now.
It's like when you try and make sense of Back to the Future, even though it's like a family film, and it's like, wait, this has got layers.
Yeah.
My brain hurts.
No.
And Cyrus will kind of like square up and say, "Is it you?" But he won't elaborate. He'll just kind of like look at Emerald and say, "Is it you?"
Is it the voice you hear? No, Cyrus, it's not me. I swear to you, on every oath I've ever taken, of everything I've ever done, what I want from you and from your companions and all of these people who are fighting against the Dark One is I want him destroyed. I want him gone. Not just from this reality, but from all of them. And I am willing to do whatever it takes. I would never, ever, and I promise you this, try and tempt you into that darkness.
Cyrus, mid-sentence, as he's saying this, is going to kind of walk around the sanctum and just say, I mean, you would say that. Or is this just another, have I left the test? Is this an illusion? Show me that face of Ash again, you fuck. And he'll kind of, not in like a quick way, but just hold his hand out to one of the kind of bookshelves he's stood near and just like set his hand on fire and just let it catch.
You can see the books roil in flame. You can see Sigrun get up immediately, axe in hand, and Emerald just puts his hand up. No. Stop. Does that make you feel better? Destruction.
Where's the gate? I'm 3 times. Where's the first? I mean,
Is that what you want?
I grow tired of this test. Where is the gate?
You're stronger than this, Samir. Don't succumb to this madness. That's exactly what he wants.
Oh, fuck. Do I believe him?
Make an insight check.
I've got D&D Beyond up. Is that cool to use?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, no problem.
That is a nat 1.
Oh man, you just have so much going on in your brain. You just don't know. You want to believe him, but you just don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna use the Tides of Chaos in this room.
Oh fuck. Okay. All right. So immediately the room just begins to shake, and some of the concrete and granite begins to crack. The flames shoot up, and Emeriel shouts, "Stop this immediately! Zamir, if you really want to prove to me, if you want to prove to him, to any of these people, that you are more than what they think you are, channel that magic into the gate, step through for the third trial, and finish this."
Did I believe that?
Make an insight check.
9 total.
9 total. You are more conscious of what's happening. You're more inclined to believe him, and if nothing else, it's the only gateway that you see right now is the one that needs magic channeled into it to enter through. So I really leave it up to you, where you're about 50-50 right now.
He will channel his magic into the gate, but he's not breaking eye contact with Ariel and say, "I know it's you, just show me that fucking ashy face. I know it's you."
And as you say that to him, his response is, "The third time is for what will be. The way back will come 3 times. Be steadfast, Samir." And with that, as you make eye contact and step through, world shift and change around you. You feel chaos and pain and anger and spite, grotesque energy and darkness. So much darkness. As you can hear the sounds of men and women crying out in pain, the sound of steel clanking on steel, magic missiles and explosions soaring through the air, crashing into gates. You know where you are. You know what this is. This is the last battle. All the great champions of the light gathered behind one banner in the city of Brahmsgrove. Anyone who has ever fought against the Dark One, who wishes to see their world preserved and alive, is here. Here, hoping that they can make this final stand and can push the dark back to the shadowy reaches where it belongs. The great heroes of the world met but once, within the sacred flame, to discuss what the plan was. Those most powerful of the heroes, those most magically inclined, would serve as buffers, going where they need to go, soaring above the combat, seeing where problems were, and then addressing them there. And that is exactly where you are, Zamir. You are a fully heightened sorcerer. Reality bends to you and to what you want it to be. You are the fully realized mage that you always knew that you could be. And your job is to wait and see what may happen. To be there if something bad does happen. And it's hard. Sitting there watching the combat unfold, but knowing that you have to save your resources. Seeing hundreds of thousands of people die, but knowing that there may be somebody that needs your help more. And the first thing that happens, the first thing that you see, is you can look over the field of battle, and you can see one man standing alone, a dark elf man. Older, scars over his face, and you can see there are these two spectral, shadowy forms that extend out from him, lashing and cutting into the battlefield. One man standing as an army of 20, with these echoes that emerge from him. As he's fighting, you can see that he's starting to get overwhelmed. And in one moment, you can see that as he's cutting down these massive, grotesque creatures and dark friends, humans wearing these poison-covered blades, eventually they all sort of fade back as there's nothing but littered bodies surrounding him. As you can see what looks to be 12 men cloaked in black, drawing long swords, eyeless in form, maggot-colored skin, and those 12 multiply into 24, surrounding this dark elf man. A man you know. Nalfian Baynir, a knight of House Forrester. You know this man. You've met him once or twice, and in a different life, the two of you probably would have been very, very good friends. Jovial and cocky and smiley in nature, just like you. And you can see him lashing and cutting, but as these 12 creatures that you know to be Banshin, as they begin to approach, you can see him begin to panic, trying to fight them off best he can as he begins to shout, his voice echoing throughout the area. Zamir! Zamir! Oh, I need help! And you can see him begin to become overwhelmed, and you can see a portal open up, maybe 15 feet away from you in the air. You can see Nalfian, if you don't help him soon, he's going to be overwhelmed, and he's going to die.
Okay. Now, when you say I'm fully realized in terms of what I have available to me, are we talking what what kind of spells have I got here?
You're level 20, man. Like, you are 9th level, and yeah, you got everything. Use your imagination.
Then I will,
Chaos Duel times 4.
Oh, fuck yes. So I will kind of point at him so he can kind of like, and I'll message saying like, you might want to duck, darling, it's gonna get a lot. And I will careful spell a meteor swarm.
Oh, fuck! So you can see Nalfian, who pretty much has been by himself in this one area of the battlefield. You can see he responds with message, fucking go for it. And he just drops down onto the ground, and immediately just portals open in the sky, these fiery red hot, like radiant hot wreaths of flame, these rocky meteors slam down into the ground, crashing around all of these Banshin, all of these Dark Friends and Shadow Spawn, decimating the battlefield. Just absolutely emptying that entire place. And you see Nalfian pop back up, and all 3 of his echoes just give you a big old thumbs up and say, thanks, bud, I appreciate you. as he redraws his rapier and dagger and just dives further into the battlefield. As the portal behind you closes, Nalthian's life has been saved thanks to you, Zamir. You feel good. You still have a fair bit of magical power left within you, and the fight has been raging for maybe a day and a half now, and you haven't needed to exert yourself that much. You feel good. You begin to fly around the field more. There are several others that you recognize, not necessarily reaching your power, you being kind of the leader of the mages in this particular circumstance of these great heroes. You see people like Eurydice, a good friend of Nalthian. You see Cecily, another student of Emeril's. You can see them flying around doing the same thing, but you are the person in charge here. Whenever it's necessary, you tell them to go somewhere else, to a different part of the city to make sure those people are safe. And as you're flying, you can see what looks to be a large group of native Eferans, led by Nahara and Alec. You can see the two of them charging in, yelling out commands to the different native Eferans, doing these massively elaborate battle tactics to fight against these dark friends. Regular people with weapons and armor, and they are a fighting force to behold. You kind of smile, seeing Alec in her true realized nature, just picking people up, spinning them around by their neck, throwing them into crowds, knocking down 8 or 9 at a time, throwing her greatsword, pulling it back by this massive chain that she has wrapped around her arms, swinging it around the battlefield, just lopping off 15 heads all at once. Just this absolute poetry that's happening on the battlefield. And you smile. That's your friend, your companion, your best friend. And you smile and you pause, and then the smile begins to melt away. As you see, cresting above the horizon, you can see this massive, shadowy black dragon. Mounted atop it, one of the Forsaken, Lorokan, a Goliath riding on top of this dragon, wearing just these different pelts and armor all over him, with this massive shard of obsidian of a spear that he is just throwing down onto the battlefield, causing these 60 feet in diameter explosions of pure necrotic energy that just decimate and evaporate people, throwing them down at the Eferans. Several of them just are caught in the explosion and just crumple to dust. And immediately the dragon lands, lets out this massive breath attack. You can see it hurts Alec and Nahara and a lot of the native Eferans. They're still alive, but against a dragon, against one of the Forsaken, Alec has been fighting for a day and a half straight. If you don't do anything, Alec and these Eferans will die. You can see a portal open behind you. And Cyrus, it's happened so many times now, you know. 3 times it will come. And on the 3rd time, if you don't go, you'll be lost forever. 2nd time, the portal opens. You know you need to go back through. You know that Alec will die if you don't.
Where is, in terms of above the battlefield, where is this dragon like kind of bombing towards them, or is it kind of like,
At this point, it's landed down in front of them, so it's on the ground in front of the Eferans.
Right. Cyrus will, I assume he was already kind of flying towards the area, but he will, just to kind of like prevent this, he will, dimension door in front of Alec and the Eferans and say, sorry about the intrusion. Me and this chap need to just have a little discussion. Be right back. And he will kind of walk. To be honest, why walk? If he's got so many fucking spell points, he will once again kind of dimension door directly under the dragon and the rider and cast Gate.
Shit.
And take them to a pocket dimension.
Okay, so you're summoning Gate underneath. Are you going with them to the pocket dimension, or are you just teleporting them into the pocket dimension?
No, I'm going with them.
Okay, so yeah, immediately, because they have no idea what's happening, like, obviously the Forsaken know about you, but they see you appear, and then Lorokan just sort of What? Where did he go? And then falls into the pocket dimension as the dragon immediately falls, tries to flap up, and Cyrus, or Zamir, you can see as the dragon flaps up, its neck comes out of the gate, its body halfway through. As you close the gate, you just cut its head clean off. As its head is now on the battlefield, as Lorokan begins to descend on this dragon corpse inside this pocket dimension. And you can see him kind of jump off the dragon corpse. And what does this pocket dimension look like? Like, is it just like a pocket of the, like, astral plane, or what's going on?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of an off-worldly, kind of purpley astral meteor-looking thing.
Oh, yeah.
But then if you look in the distance, there's like this really regal kind of like palace, like house, which is clearly like Cyrus's shag pad.
Yeah.
But it literally is like his own creation in this dimension, where it has free reign.
Amazing.
But he's taken this guy to like the absolute wastes of the dimension, kind of like where his magic and I guess imagination reaches its limits, where it's like right towards the edge of this kind of dimension.
Yeah, it's like you were on the
where
edge
its
of chaos.
reality is breaking.
Yeah. Okay, so kind of lands on like this floating piece of stone, starts beginning to take like large lumps or large leaps and jumps towards you, pulling that like obsidian spear back, trying to throw it at you. In response to that, what are you doing, Zamir?
I guess being more realized with this, he's going to kind of just lazily kind of dodge them and allow this guy to charge him and get closer and closer and closer until he's kind of like honestly within a few feet from Cyrus.
Okay, all right. The spear comes crashing down, causing these massive explosions, but you just float out of the way. This is your dimension. You can do whatever you want in here. So with that, he gets maybe 3 to 5 feet away from you, like where you can feel his breath and that darkness radiating off of him, being one of the Forsaken. With that, he's right where you want him. What do you do?
Cyrus will say, no more. And just kind of like move his hand upwards in a motion, almost like a flick.
Yeah.
And he casts Blade of Disaster and literally cuts this guy in half with like breaking reality.
Okay. Yeah, and I will say that because this is such this is so far into the battle. Obviously, Lorokan has been hurt and he's been damaged before, and losing that connection to his dragon has caused so much psychic damage to him, the bond that they share. As you do, he kind of looks to you, and as you begin to cut him in pieces, you reduce him to 0 hit points very easily, as he has just lopped into these like 8 or 9 different pieces. And you can see him begin to like whittle away into ash and dust, but he begins to reform. And you remember before, and this is an odd memory that you have in this moment. Before Imariel died, he taught you Balefire, which Cyrus Zamir knows is the only way to permanently destroy any of the Forsaken, which is this cataclysmically powerful spell for how much magic you need to use it. It's only a 4th level spell, but it pretty much severs someone's connection to the weave, but it can only be used against Shadowspawn, Dark Friends, and Forsaken. And it is like 40 points of radiant damage, but it literally erases somebody from the weave as if they never existed. So you can see as the ash is beginning to reform, they've been cut into thousands of pieces, and all you need to do is reach out to the weave and cast Balefire, and Lorokan is destroyed.
Cyrus will do that.
Okay.
But before he does that, he will take Lorokan kind of back to his reality, back where he kind of originally teleported him out of it.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And say, Literally as he appears, like moments later, I guess, to Alec and the Eferans and kind of have this guy face his own army and say, "I want you to watch your own failure." And like, as he's holding him in a headlock, just literally burn this guy's fucking like reality.
Oh shit! So you can see that as you do cast balefire into the head of Lorokan, you can see him begin to turn to dust and ash, fade away. And the most interesting thing as well, you can see the dragon begin to fade away as well, the connection they share. And hundreds of thousands of soldiers return to life on the battlefield, undoing all of the actions that Lorokan took during this fight. You can see there is a boost of morale, a boost of stamina, where the people fighting for the light against the darkness, they truly feel like they have a chance. You smile, and there is a moment of happiness as you and Alec and the Eferans share a smile. So many years ago, all of you were fighting in a revolution together to free them, and now they lead the charge of the vanguard into the shadows and their forces. Now, you share this moment of happiness, but sadly, it is cut short as Cyrus, in this moment, you smile and laugh, feeling like you've achieved something truly great. There is this blast of necrotic energy that slams into your side as you are just catapulted into the ground. As Alec just rolls over and catches you, giving you these sort of echoes of moments that you've had in the past. Alec sort of catching you out of midair. And you can see this man floating above the battlefield. Another mage. One that Cyrus has heard of. One that he knows very, very well. One that the Eferans, the Wardens, encountered before. One of the Forsaken, Anvath. You can see the green armor, the purple cloak, that sheen covering his face, that like glass bowl. As you're hit with that magic, and Alec looks to you and says, "Don't worry, I've got this. Go find Morgonix. Get healed, okay? And then come back. I'll hold him off until then, okay?"
Just don't blink. Watch him. And Cyrus will get up and kind of pass Lorokan's weapon to Alec and say, just watch him.
You can see Alec's face light up with a smile. "I will be the most watchful." And with that, eyes wide open, like obsidian spear in hand, ready, like holding the greatsword one-handed in one hand and the spear in the other.
Fuck yeah.
She's ready. And Nahara, also the rest of the Eferans, they are ever watchful, ever active, and a lot of the other soldiers that came back to life, they also begin to crowd the area. So you feel as though there is a bit of time that you have, and you know exactly where Morgonix is. She is in the Tower of Nibir Tarman, where the first flame is, the thing that you're protecting. If that flame is extinguished and broken, then this is all lost. That's where she is, the last line of defense. So immediately you dimension door, you fly, you do whatever you need to until you get there. And you can see Morgonix look at you and smile for a moment, seeing that you're here, and then looking at the wound and sort of the like decay and blood coming off of you, and says, "Oh no, come here. What did that? Or who?"
Anvath. He's Alex holding him off.
Good. Well, I guess we need to get you back out there then, right? Okay. All right. And you can see her discharge a lot of that magical energy into you, healing you. That radiant soul being ever so clear and transparent in her in this current moment. She smiles. And there we go. All right. With that, I think you're ready. And she smiles at you, sort of clasps your hand and squeezes it. "We got this, all right? We can do this."
course, just you're good, right? You're on your own up here. Alex told me to come and protect you. Is there anyone like around, or is it just me and Morganix?
Right now, it's just you and Morganix, yeah. There are other people that are, like, near the entrance of the tower, but she has been sort of placed within the first flame. So right now, it's just you two alone.
Do I get the impression that anything is kind of off, or does everything just seem above board?
Right now, everything seems fine. Yeah. Morganix is very optimistic, which is, that's natural for her, so that's not too weird. It is a little odd that she's the only person up here, but you do know that there are only certain people who are allowed to come up here. Like, the tower has to accept people. Whatever fate or weave is tied to it, only certain people can come up to the top. And that is a very limited number of people.
I need to get back, but just be careful. I don't know who's out here.
Of course. Always be careful. Too much on the line, right? She smiles at you, and the two of you share a moment. And then you, Cyrus, can hear the footfalls of feet on stone. And as the two of you turn, you can see a form approaching the flame. For a moment, you just assume that it may be one of the other heroes of Illica. But as the hood falls back, your heart drops, your stomach twists, as you see Maya, face cracked and full of ash, embers where there should be eyes, as she races her hand up to the first flame. And time around you stops. And you can see a man of shadow and ember twist into appearance near you. And you can see a silvery gate appear behind you. Three times it will come. The man of ember and ash looks to you and says, "We both know what you're going to choose. And we both know that you do not like me at all. But we both also know how you feel about Emeril. So how about this? I want to give you a gift, Zamir. No strings attached. And all you need to do is accept it. And I will expect nothing in return. Before you even say yes or no, let me say what it is." And you can see he flicks his hands, and there is this bright flash of flame that shifts and change into some devil of some kind. Deep purple skin, curled ram's horns, wearing what looks to be some type of like ebony armor. This right here is the poor unfortunate devil who owns your poor unfortunate soul. Your tiefling nature, belongs to him. Here's what I offer you. You were never meant to be a tiefling. No, 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 no. You were meant to be so much more. So different. So here's what I offer you, Zamir. This devil, I can cut him from the weave, erase his threads in the pattern, as if he never existed. I can give you your humanity back, your soul back. You see, I live in a realm free of time and free of pain. The world I wish to create is one of tranquility and peace. And I want to give you tranquility and peace. Think about these tests Imriel has put you through. Nothing but pain and strife. And for what? A magic trick? I can undo what he did to you. Simply because I want to. All you need to do is ask, and I will do it. And Zamir, in this moment, you can see Maya begin to, like she was in the moment of twisting her hand as that flame began to diminish. Morganix, that look of horror and fear on her face as she immediately went to go conjure her blade, as all of this is just frozen in time. The last ringing of the battlefield reverberating throughout the air, just stuck. Everything frozen. Everything except for you, him, and the portal behind you that is slowly shrinking.
Does the present Cyrus in this reality, I believe is the wrong word, not necessarily believe the Dark One, but is he at least considering that magic would be possible? Because, you know, I don't know if this present Cyrus was like looking into that. I don't know if he's looked into that before. What's his knowledge of, is that possible?
The scary part is that you would have discovered about the Dark One is truthfully most things are possible for him. This cosmic entity who exists outside of time and reality is capable of anything. It's just that, and this is something that you as adventurers would have discovered in your journey, is that he is locked outside of reality. And only by these small tears can his power creep in. So something as insignificant as killing a devil or erasing a devil will have no impact on the greater timeline. But he, per se, can't just erase somebody like Cyrus, because that has too much of an impact on the timeline. And this is something that you would definitely understand. So it's very reasonable that he could do this. But one thing that Cyrus would know, having messed with time magic a little on his own and talking with the little bit he did with Nalfian, is whenever you mess with time magic, there are always unintended problems that come up. And there's one in particular that you know happened, but for the life of you, you cannot remember. There was one really, really big mistake that was made. One really big thing that happened. But those details are so fuzzy in your memory right now. So, killing that demon, or killing that devil, could have no implications. Or it could change the very fabric of everything around you. It is a roll of the dice.
Oh, how's the portal looking in terms of time?
Maybe a minute. It's shrinking fairly slowly.
Um, and he'll kind of like, as he's speaking, he will still be kind of making his way towards the portal. You're lying. You couldn't do this.
So naive. Of course I can. I can do anything. As the flame begins to weaken in this reality, my power becomes stronger and stronger. And he kind of snaps his fingers. Time speeds up. The flame diminishes to maybe half of its size. He snaps again. Time pauses. And you can see at that moment, Morganix is now raising her blade up to strike down at Maya in that one fluid motion. And that decrease in power. So you just killed Lorokan, right? That's right, I remember it. You erased him from the pattern using that light-forsaken magic. I wonder what he has to say about that. And you can see the Dark One begin to pull these threads at his hands, as if he's like just creating a weave in front of him, until eventually he pulls it and pushes it forward, and you can see, thrust from that weave, Lorokan reappears and rematerializes. No spear in hand, but it's him, as he's just like thrown from the balcony, now frozen in time. Would you like another example? Oh, how many dear companions have died? Dear friends lost along the way? Your mother, Duncan, your dearest father. How many examples do you need before you realize just how powerful I am? Choice is yours, Cyrus.
I mean, we'll see. But at least, right now, you're wrong. And he'll kind of like look back at Maya, dip his head, and kind of start to kind of go through the portal.
Okay, so you start, and with that, the Dark One snaps. Time resumes. Lorokan fades away to dust and ash immediately. And you can see Morganix bring that blade up, and as soon as she strikes it down, as soon as it makes contact with Maya, the flame is extinguished. You can see darkness cover the land. You can hear the cries of so many people. Pain, anguish. You can hear hope being abandoned. And you can feel defeat in your heart. The Dark One has won in this reality. You know it to be true. With that, do you go the rest of the way through the portal?
Begrudgingly, yeah. I mean, it's... Yeah, obviously there's the moment where he's still kind of convincing himself this is real and wants to fix things and change it, but yeah, he'll go through.
Okay. All right, with that, you step through, leaving the future behind, returning to the present, and into Imariel's sanctum. When you return, you are alone. No one to cleanse you, no one to return you to a neutral state. there is a letter on a lectern, along with a small strong box below it. But no sign of Sigrun or of Emmeril in this room.
He'll go to the letter and just kind of open that.
Okay. So, as you begin to read it, it is in Emmeril's hand, and it is addressed to you. It says, Samir, I'm very sorry that I had to leave, and I hope truly that you are reading this letter. Know that you are washed clean of whatever sins you may have committed, and that whatever you saw in the future is not what will be, but what could be. We all have the power to change our fate, to make a difference. And that is exactly what I plan on doing right now. I received a message from Varnast saying that there was confirmation of one of my old students, Dinan Baynir, who has found one of the seals of the 13 in the Bloody Mesa, and there's a mysterious person who is there with him. I've made too many mistakes and ignored too many signs. Sigrun and I will try and stop them, but I'm afraid for what may come if we do not stop. Your friends are in the Bloody Mesa. They're in the caves of the Casa tribes. In the strongbox below, you will find 3 things. 1, a scroll of teleportation that will bring you directly to your friends. 2, a runic essence of balefire. If you crush this between your hands, you will learn the magic necessary to destroy Dark Friends, Shadowspawn, and any of the 13 Forsaken. And finally, if you've made it out, you are now accepted as a member of the Secret Flame, of the Hidden Flame. And I proudly bestow upon you the ability to remove one's ability to channel magic if you deem they are too dangerous to possess it. Crush the runic essence in your hands, and you will gain the knowledge. I'm very proud of you, Samir. And I wish I could have been a better father and teacher to you. Good luck on your journey. Your friends will be happy to have you back. Signed, Solvis Emmeril.
Am I convinced I am in reality currently?
At this point, yes. After that interaction with the Dark One, and seeing how insane things got, reading this message, and if nothing else, the idea of returning to your friends. That wasn't a choice before. It was something you were forced into. The fact that you now have a choice, that's what leads you to believe that you're in reality. Leads you to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might not be fully convinced yet, but you are on your way.
He'll start by crushing the runic essence of both of them to learn those abilities.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, you do, and immediately you gain that knowledge, and you can tell just how powerful that type of magic is. Now, the thing is, you will technically not be able to do the sapping of magic until you reach 17th level.
Okay.
Yeah, because it requires at least 100 spell points, which you don't get until 17th level.
Right.
Yeah, but you know the magic, so when you get there, that's something that you can begin to do. Balefire, however, is just a 4th level spell, and I'll add that to your character sheet right now. So with that, Zamir, what are you doing?
At least for now, although he's convinced he's now back in reality, I think he is just going to kind of look around Amriel's Sanctum here for I don't know, any form of whether it's proof, research, magic, equipment ready to, whatever, basically.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that you do go to see is when you first had entered, you would notice those lecterns, very clean and very organized at the far end of the room. And so you go to investigate those. That was something that you noticed when you knew you were in reality. It was something that was there. So you investigate, and you can see that there are 3 different chests and 3 different letters. You can see one is addressed to the Wardens of Efera, one is addressed to the Runaways, and one would be addressed to the Forerunners. The chests aren't locked. You're able to look inside of them, and you can see that there are scrolls of what Cyrus would recognize of teleportation, with specific runic signatures in each one of them. The seals on the letters they're not sealed, so you can read them if you'd like, and you can see that the one addressed to the Wardens is addressed to the entire party that says, if you're reading this, that means something has happened to me, and I've sent you here. This scroll will lead you to the coordinator's office in Port Sahala, where hopefully she'll be able to provide for you whatever you may need to get back to wherever you were. Do not fear that I'm gone. I know that you have the power and the ability to stop the Dark One without me. You always have. I just didn't see that. And I'm sorry for doubting you. The letter entitled The Runaways, it would take them to the Hidden Flame Sanctum in Bromsgrove. A letter of a similar feel. If you're reading this, it means that I'm no longer with you. I have no way to get you back to where you were. You all are going to be the ones responsible for defeating the Dark One. I'm sorry I didn't see it in you. I should have never doubted you. And then finally to the Forerunners. I should also state that they're addressed in the header to the people. So, Zamir, and it's just all the party members from the campaigns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the final one is for the Forerunners, which is in West Hollow, which Zamir would know as a city in Iverion. And this would be to Talitha, one of Emeriel's students. And there is a specific notation in parentheses, a good one. Okay. So, with that, this does help you calm down. Because this is so specific and nobody has tried to influence you to do something. You've read the letters. You have choices. I mean, you could technically take any one of these scrolls and teleport to that place and just go. Nothing is making you do anything.
Okay. I guess in that case, I don't know what he'll if he's obviously been told by Emriel in that letter where the rest of his party and the wardens are, that
Mm-hmm.
my only assumption of what he'd do in the immediate moment would be just kind of to prepare, whether that's find equipment, because I don't know what I kind of left behind. I don't know what Emriel's taken or left. Even if it is just reading through his other magics in here, that like stuff that Cyrus didn't know before, and just taking that time to kind of be a better aid to them, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I would say that one thing you could probably find is some of his notations on studying the Dark One. And there's one thing in particular that you read about Emeriel's research on realities. And this is probably the thing that has the most interesting read to you, and the information that sticks with you the most. Where Emeriel has discovered, due to some information that has been brought up to him by multiple of these parties, specifically information from the Forerunners and from the Runaways, that he has reason to believe that there is an Emeriel from another reality that has found his way into this one. He's not sure, he has no proof aside from rumors, and he has had no hard physical evidence of this. So it's caused Emeriel to do more research on it, and finding that there is ways to communicate with alternate realities and people from different realities. That there is this thin veil of time and space that separates realities. The way that Emeriel, the analogy that he uses is, imagine like hundreds of wheels closely packed together on one rod, all of them spinning at different speeds. Some realities spin faster, time moves more quickly. The events play themselves out sooner. Some move more slowly. And it's safest to assume that whatever wheel is the center, whatever reality is the center of all of them, moves the most slowly, as it sent out all of its energy away from it. And Emeriel believes in his studies that the reality that he lives in, this reality, is the first reality to start and the last reality to end. This reality is the last one that the Dark One would need to claim before it's all over, before there is no more reality to consume, and it is all just darkness and shadow.
And then, I mean, judging, obviously, Cyrus isn't stupid, but he's not the brightest. He's definitely got a flavor for
Shinies.
style more than
Yeah.
than real wisdom. But from reading that, does he get the impression that, like, assuming that they can change this reality, that other realities are then also malleable?
Correct.
Okay. Because for a constant to be the case, if one needs to change, if one changes, that means by that logic, all others could also be changed, if not already changed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Exactly.
that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Is that? I mean, you tell me. I mean, other than kind of like, because he doesn't want to root through the other chests, I guess. Other than, I think he is honestly probably just going to wander around here and just look for anything that will aid him for when he, like, I think at this point he is just gearing up to kind of join the rest of them, as in the party again. But I think he's just looking for. I'll be honest, Joe. I don't know.
Looking for something. I get you. Make an investigation check.
That is a fucking hell. Oh fuck it, I've got lucky. Let's use that because that's a 5. Let's use a luck point. That is a. That's better. That's a 19.
19. Okay. All right. 19. You say? Okay. Let me read something real quick.
I will say, while you're reading that,
Mm-hmm.
if Bill basically said this is kind of his secret sanctum, and it addresses all the parties that like this is where they would eventually find themselves because something's happened to him. That would suggest to Cyrus or Zamir at least that this is not just his last bastion, but maybe where he's always slinked off to.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say he's not just looking for potentially something obvious. I would say he's genuinely looking for something more hidden, whether it's like a runic lock, like a magical lock almost, or something like not quite as cliche as you pull a book and a fucking bookcase opens, but you know what I mean.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, and I think. Okay, so with a 19, as you're beginning to look around, you begin to head down some of those corridors that you were in. And you decide to just wander for a moment, seeing if you can find anything. Sort of that idea that you find what you're looking for when you're not looking for it, you know, just exploring. And as you are, there's something very odd that you notice, taking one step and then another and then another. Down this entire hallway, there's been a door on each side of the hall, to your left and to your right, and they've been equally spaced apart, perfectly in line with each other. But by the time you get to the end of the hall, there's a door to your left, but no door to your right, where there should obviously be a door. But right now, it is just wall.
I guess yeah, he's gonna kind of go to where the door should be.
Okay.
I guess, and just kind of reach out and see if he can tell if there's any type of like arcane lock, or if the door is just straight up hidden.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, as you walk through, or as you go to gesture your hand through, it does phase through the wall, and you can reach for a doorknob. As this is definitely some type of hallucinatory terrain.
Then he's 100% going through there.
Okay. You turn open the doorknob, you open it, and you walk through. As you step through, there is a brief flash of light as the area around you begins to glow. There are 4 sconces on the wall, each one glowing this sort of golden flame. And in the center, there is a stand. And on that stand, you can see what looks to be a cloak of some kind. Has this intricate interior pattern. What looks to be this sort of like gold and black silk interior, and this like thick wool exterior. And it's odd, the color of the cloak is kind of shifting and changing. But you stand there looking at it as the cloak just sort of rests, framing out the stand.
In that future reality that Cyrus was in, when he kind of was, Big Dick Archmage. Was he wearing this in that version of Future? That's if he remembers that.
Yeah, Oh, it's so weird because, like... Okay. This is some of this fucky-wucky time stuff, all right? So as soon as Cyrus thinks about taking the cloak, he can remember himself wearing it. But as soon as he tries to remember if he was wearing it, to determine whether or not to take it, he's not wearing it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty horrendous. Definitely has a moment where he like reaches for it 4 or 5 times as the memory keeps changing.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, he's gonna take it.
Okay. Alrighty. So with that, you take it and you throw it around your shoulders and you clasp it. And you just sort of stand there for a moment. I'm just curious, as the cloak is shifting and changing color, what color would Zamir like the cloak to be? What does he think would look best on him?
Honestly, probably just really dark purple again. I think he vibes of it. So, yeah.
Okay. Really dark purple. And the interior stays that sort of deep black and gold, but it's almost not even visible with the deep purple sort of cascading down his shoulders. As you put it on, there's nothing immediately, but you continue walking through the halls to see if you can find anything else. And maybe after 45 minutes to an hour, you can feel yourself getting caught up in a lot of the beauty that is in the sanctum. The ribbons of purple and green and blue light outside the sanctum. As you just begin to walk up a staircase, you realize that you didn't notice that you got to a staircase. You never even felt yourself moving your legs up. As you look down, you can see that you're floating above the staircase. As the cloak around your shoulders is billowing slightly, levitating you up and up and up on the staircase.
That's new. Shit, okay. Do I have any idea what this is, or is this, to his knowledge, just unique?
This is just unique. Yeah, you have no idea. It is... One thing that is a little odd is that you can feel, as soon as you get up to the stairs, you can kind of feel the cloak pulling at you, like to go back down the stairs.
He's gonna let the cloak guide him, which sounds like a strange sentence, but like, yeah, you Stephen Strange that shit.
Okay, so yeah, you can feel the cloak pull you back to the initiation room where that where you were first at, pulling you back to the chest. And you can see the corner of the cloak flip open the chest and wrap around that scroll of teleportation and kind of press it to you.
Yeah. Oh, God. Do you know what? I think he's gonna use the. He's gonna let it teleport him, but I think it's one of those where like he would hesitate.
Mm-hmm.
like he wants to be with his friends, but at the same time, this sanctum, like where it's safe, where he feels like I don't know. I don't know if he feels this kind of lull towards it, whether it's if he's still not sure if he's in reality or not. But he would use it, and I guess almost in like an internal way. But wait, just like that.
Okay.
And then just do you know what? Fucking let Mr. Jesus take the wheel.
Yeah, where it's like the safety is so nice, but then as he goes to cast it, he's like, no, this is the right choice. I need to do this. I need to be there.
Yeah, and I think at that point he is just going like full kind of chaos, take the wheel.
Yeah.
Like just I'll cast it,
Okay.
but also you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. So with that, you pull open the scroll, you begin to chant the incantation, channel the magic into it as the scroll begins to dissolve from the center. You can feel reality closing in around you, shooting you through as you disappear from Immemorial's sanctum, headed towards wherever your companions are. As you fall through that reality, so many things fly by you. But you know that you'll be with your friends soon. And on that note, that is where we're going to go ahead and end your session point 5. Woo!
Fuck yeah.
Oh, God. Well, that was a lot of fun. All right, look at that. There you go. You have the Cloak of Levitation now. Sadly, I realize you're going to have to change out an attuned item.
Okay.
Because you're at 3, yeah. So you have the Staff of Fire, Amulet of Health, and Ring of Protection. The Cloak of Levitation, however, it's a legendary item, man. So it's something else.
Fuck yeah, dude.
There's also a lot going on here. Yeah. So you may want to read through that just a little bit. So the cloak is sentient, a la Doctor Strange. So obviously you don't have complete control over it, but for the most part, it'll kind of do what you want as long as you have a good vibe. If you start treating the cloak like a dick, the cloak will be like, all right, I'm out.
Oh shit. Cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, whether you're watching now or you're watching afterwards on YouTube. Let's see. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the Adventures of the Salamander Coast, or this Friday and Saturday. There's no Isles. There's no Efera. The 31st is a maybe. Not super sure for Efera, but the 1st of January, or the 2nd of January is when we're going to come back with Isles, and then definitely on the 7th of December is when we're going to, 7th of January is when we're going to be back with Efera. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time.